There does seem to be a an overarching network of human overlords. Indeed, a network of elite human agents who are basically coordinating a mass mind control structure of the population. Indeed, I suppose these networks span the gamut of the networks that I've been investigating in the recent few videos. Indeed, the British intelligence services and thereby the US intelligence services as an extended branch of British intelligence services, and the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst intelligence network, the decentralized intelligence network, which operates as a global criminal cartel, and the neo-Soviet psychopolitical Russian intelligence networks. Indeed, all of these networks seem to intersect and interlink in their ambitions and geostrategic aims. So I'm wondering if there is a governing body of these networks, a network of human overlords, and a network of elite controllers. Indeed, this is where one would start throwing in terms such as the Illuminati. Indeed, it does seem that the Bavarian Illuminati of 1776 were a continuum that led into the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst network. And this was all part of a Templar agenda, basically. It seems that the Bavarian Illuminati were of the Templar continuum in a similar way to how the Society of Jesuits were of the Templar continuum, and the Freemasons were also of the Templar continuum, all of these networks uniting to basically dissolve the power of the secret police of ancient Rome, who had restructured themselves as the Roman Catholic Church. Indeed, there seems to have been a conflict between these Templar networks, many of whom were rooted in Druidic complexes, and the Roman Church. Indeed, it seems now that the Templar continuums have complete dominion over the Roman Church. Indeed, how these networks link to Russia is rather interesting, with various Illuminist orders and Sabbatean networks, thereby Frankist continuums also through the German intelligence services, basically instituted themselves in Tsarist Russia throughout the late 1700s and the 1800s, and gradually paved the way for the construction of the Communist Party structure and the overarching intelligence leviathan of the communist state. Indeed, it's interesting to consider that the networks that were to become the KGB, that began as the Cheka and morphed into the NKVD and later the KGB, these networks were organized into secret societies in a similar way to how the SS Black Order was organized, and not too dissimilar to the lodge systems of the Freemasons in the United Kingdom and the United States. Indeed, there seem to be many parallels there between these networks. Indeed, these elite KGB networks did have a system of lodges, basically, and conducted rituals in a similar way to the secret SS Brotherhoods and the Freemasons. And these secret society networks also engaged in an enormous mind control program centered around psychiatric facilities in the Soviet Union, but also in the Gulag system. Indeed, Gulag prisoners were seen by the intelligence services as expendable and therefore used in experiments. Indeed, many of these experiments on Gulag prisoners and psychiatric patients consisted of open brain surgery. Indeed, it seems that many of the maniacs that began to proliferate around the 1960s, 1970s in the Soviet Union, many of the maniacs were victims of open brain surgery, whereby a hole was drilled in their skull and Soviet neuroscientists basically played around with the component parts of the brain to basically see what would happen. Indeed, this was also accompanied by intense mind control programming that resulted in the creation of what are termed maniacs, though how many of the murders attributed to the maniacs were actually carried out by the maniacs, I query, because these murders may have actually been carried out by elite KGB and GRU intelligence network operatives, many of which were ritual killings or criminal entities. And due to reasons of national security, these killings had to be covered up. So patsies were designated, and these people, these schizophrenic mind control victims and open brain surgery victims, were labeled as maniacs by the communist authorities, and this continues into the Russian Federation today, with these maniacs being set up and programmed in exactly the same way by the current Russian intelligence structure as occurred during the years of the Soviet Union. Indeed, I stated that this is a very similar situation to the serial killer phenomenon in the United States, which really began to become very visible in the 1960s and 1970s. It is interesting to note that the majority of serial killers had spent time in psychiatric hospitals before they began their serial killer murder sprees. And it seems also in this case that the majority of the killings attributed to these serial killers were not in fact carried out by these serial killers at all. They were carried out by elite intelligence operatives or elite Masonic networks of psychopaths in ritual slayings, or they were criminal entities utilizing neo-Nazi satanic cults to silence witnesses and ritual abuse victims who may speak out. So I've explained these theories in several previous videos. Indeed, returning to the fact that there seems to be a network of human overlords, I keep returning to the unifying conspiracy regarding the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst, which seem to have their tentacles in everything, including the Western intelligence structure, the Soviet, neo-Soviet Russian Federation intelligence structure, and the structure of the Chinese Communist Party, as well as a majority percentage of Japanese intelligence. Indeed, there seems to be a huge crossover between Japanese intelligence services and the Nazi Continuum extraterritorial Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst network. Indeed, it's interesting to note that many operatives of the Bundesnachrichtendienst, the German Federal Intelligence Service, are not fully aware of the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst. Indeed, due to compartmentalization and the fact that the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst wishes to remain in the shadows as much as possible, even operatives of German Federal Intelligence are not aware of this network. Indeed, it seems that quite a few British intelligence operatives interface with the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst. Indeed, at certain levels of British intelligence, there seems to be rather a lot of crossover between the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst and the British intelligence services. And the most obvious example, as I keep stating, is Blaise Metrovelli, the Director General of MI6, who is a Bilderberger, therefore an NW7 IG Farben chemical consortium intelligence operative, which directly links us back to the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst, what with the IG Farben conglomerate and its intelligence branch NW7 being key components of the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst structure. Indeed, the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst has a large corporate presence, especially with such Hydra corporations as BASF, the IG Farben Continuum conglomerate, and ThyssenKrupp, a munitions and digital surveillance system conglomerate, and Siemens, which operates in many areas Indeed, this is not to forget to mention such combines as Bayer, which is itself, I believe, part of the IG Farben conglomerate, but various pharmaceutical companies are run by operatives of the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst, which returns to the theory that the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst web of control is based in intelligence, drugs, and psychiatry, what with the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst having controlling percentages of much of British and American intelligence structures, as well as French and Russian Federation intelligence structures also, and is also a key component in the activities of the largest pharmaceutical corporations, and controls much of the global illicit narcotics trade also, as well as coordinating the activities of the World Federation for Mental Health and the various psychiatric branches that are appendages of it. So it's all interesting, interlinking operations really that signal that there does seem to be a network of elite human overlords who are basically controlling the show. Indeed, many of the mafia syndicates are controlled by the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst to at least some degree. Indeed, there does seem to be a crossover between many mafia syndicates and the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst. This returns us to the topic of Aristotle Onassis, who I believe was a Greek-born Donmer cult Sabbatean, and he basically had many cartel arrangements with both the Rockefeller cartel and various Nazi cartels, and basically was providing oil to both sides during the Second World War and didn't lose a single ship, which states that he seemed to have been protected in some way by an overarching entity. It's also interesting to note that Interpol are basically a Nazi consortium also. Indeed, although their headquarters just before the Second World War was in Paris, their headquarters then transferred to Berlin after the occupation of France. But there was lots of Nazi involvement in the setting up of Interpol. It seems that much of the idea behind setting up Interpol was to have a private police network to protect the Swiss bankers, which was in Nazi interests as well as in the interests of British intelligence. So it all seems to interlink together. Indeed, the Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst do basically seem to be a mafia entity, although they pretty much take the form of a decentralized intelligence network, but it crosses over into a secret society and mafia entity. Then again, most intelligence agencies are intelligence networks, mafias, and secret societies all rolled into one. Indeed, all of these concepts are basically indistinguishable. And it's interesting to try and work out who the overarching human overlords are. I can't actually pinpoint necessarily who the exact network of human overlords are, if there even is one, due to everything being so factional and there being petty squabbles and power plays. Is there even a network of overarching human overlords? Or is it just a series of interconnected webs of intelligence agencies, mafias, and secret societies? It seems that this may be the case, but you have to consider the fact that, for instance, the Sabbateans took their orders from a network of ascended masters of Islam, as they were termed, which were centered around the Aga Khan. So perhaps a network similar to this exists, coordinating the British intelligence and Deutsche Verteidigungsdienst networks. I do not know. And I can only continue to research these things and attempt to work them out. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there.